Fourth grade lesson 11.5 is problem solving with unknown angle measures.
Our essential question is, how can you use the strategy draw a diagram to solve angle measurement problems? Let's unlock the problem. Mr. Tran is cutting a piece of kitchen tile as shown at the right. He needs tiles with 45-degree angles to make a design, so he'd have to measure here for a 45-degree angle. After the cut, what is the angle measure of the part left over? So he measured this and got 45 degrees. Can Mr. Tran use both pieces in the design? Let's use the graphic organizer below to help us solve the problem. I need to find the angle of what's left, the piece that's left. What information do I need to use? I can use the measures of the angles that I know. I know it was a square tile, and squares have a 90-degree angle. And I know that he measured this angle, which was a 45-degree angle, so that's information that I know. How will I use this information? I can draw a bar model and use the information. We know that the whole model was the whole angle was 90 degrees. If the angle he measured was 45 degrees, what's left? We know that this plus this will equal the whole thing, the measure of angle ABD plus the measure of angle CBD is going to equal the measure of angle ABC, which we know is 90 degrees. So we have 90 degrees, we have this unknown angle, and then we have this angle that we know is 45 degrees. So some unknown number plus 45 is going to equal 90 degrees. Well, why don't I take the 90 degrees and take off the number that I know, and what I'm left with will be what the other unknown number is. I can't do 0 minus 5. I do need to go borrow. All those skills that we've been learning, we still keep them, right? 10 minus 8 is 5, and 8 minus 4 is 4. So x must equal 45 degrees. This other angle is 45 degrees. The measure of angle ABD is 45 degrees, which is what he needs for his design. Since both tiles measure 45 degrees, Mr. Tran can use both pieces in his design. Lucky him.
Let's try another problem. Marisol is building a frame for a sandbox. That will be her sandbox, but the boards she has are too short. She must join two boards together to build the side as shown, like that. At what angle did she cut the first board? Okay, so she has this board, and she needs to cut it at an angle. She has cut a 55-degree angle here, so what is the measure of this angle? I need to find what the measure that she cut the first board, the measure of the angle of the first board. What information can I use to do that? Well, I'm going to use the pieces of information I know. If this is a whole angle, these flat or straight angles, hopefully by now you're recognizing that those straight angles have a value of 180 degrees for that straight angle. Of that 180 degrees to go from here all the way around to here, we have used 55 degrees of it. How will I use that information? I could draw a graph or a model of that information. Also, I can write it as an equation. So if the whole amount was 180 degrees, and I've used up 55 degrees of it, how much is this? So basically 55 plus x equals 180. All right, well, if the whole thing is 180 degrees and I've used up 55 degrees, if I pull that 55 degrees off of the 180 or subtracted, I'll be left with what that unknown angle was. So I'm going to do that. The inverse or the opposite of addition is subtraction. So I'm using that opposite to work my way there. 180, take the 55 degrees that I know off. So this is the 180 degree angle. So if I take off the 55 degrees, then I will be left with what's left. So that's my reason for subtracting. And of course I can't do 0 minus 5. I need to borrow. 10 minus 5 is 5. 7 minus 5 is 2. And 1 minus nothing is 1. So what's left then is a 125 degree angle. explain how I can check the answer in the problem. Well, remember, this angle plus this angle needs to add together to be 180 degrees. So I would check it by saying, okay, well, 125 degrees plus 55 degrees better be 180 degrees. If it's not, then I've done something wrong. So I'll do the addition very quickly. 5 plus 5 is 10, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the 1, and it all checks out. Let's look at just a few more, and then hopefully after those, you'll feel comfortable and confident enough to be able to do this on Think Central. Laura cuts a square out of scrap paper as shown. What is the angle measure of the piece that's left over? So first we'll draw a model to represent the problem. We'll do a bar model like they did. And let's look at this picture a little bit. We've got this square with this little blue square, which by now we know means it's a right angle or a 90-degree angle. And then they say this whole thing is 115 degrees. So let's go ahead and add that onto our bar model. The whole angle is 115 degrees. We know that part of this is a 90-degree angle. So we're going to put this here. 90-degree angle is used up. What we don't know is this little scrap here, x. It's an unknown. We don't know that number yet. We're just going to call it the variable x. Give it a letter. Let us know, hey, I don't know that number yet, but when I know it, I'll put it in its place. So the equation I would use for this is this 90 put together with the x, or 90 plus this unknown amount x. When you add them all together, they equal 115. Okay, so if I take that 115, the whole thing, and I cut off this 90 or subtract off this 90, what's left will be what that unknown number is. So I'm going to take the 115 and I'm going to subtract or cut away the 90 degrees here. And once I do that, oopsie, let's get a color there. Once I do that, that will give me what's left. My goal is what I'm trying to find what's left. So 5 minus 0 is 5. 11 minus 9 is 2. So this must be a 25-degree angle. X equals 25 degrees. Go ahead and try this one without me. Push pause and try it, and then push play, and we'll see how you did. Okay, let's see how it went. Jackie trimmed a piece of scrap metal to make a straight edge as shown. What is the measure of the piece she trimmed off? Okay, let's start by just taking a look here what we got going on. I have this whole angle measured all the way to there at 225 degrees. So the whole angle is 225 degrees. I'll do that bar model again since we've been using that. The whole amount is 225 degrees. I don't have any other number information. However, this part right here is a straight angle, right? And straight angles are 180 degrees. So I know that's 180 degrees. What I don't know is the rest of it right here. That's x. That's my unknown. But if I add this to this, it will equal the whole thing, 285, or 225, I should say. So 180 plus that unknown value x will all add together to equal the rest of the angle, 225-degree angle. If I take all 225 and cut away or subtract the 180, that will leave me with what's left. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. 225, cut away the 180 or subtract it, and that will leave me with the variable x, what's left. 5 minus 0 is 5. Borrow there. 12 minus 8 is 4. And 1 minus 1 is 0, so x equals 45 degrees. How can I check that? Let's add that 180 plus 45 to make sure we didn't miscalculate and that it adds up to 225. 0 plus 5, 5. 8 plus 4 is 12, and 1 plus 1 is 2. Checks out just fine. So hopefully that makes sense to you on how to get those. Go ahead and give it a try in Think Central. If you need additional help, please let me know.